Penny Carnaby, please. Penny, do you have Christina with you or not? Or not? If Christina wants to come up to the table, she's most welcome.
Yeah, good evening, thanks. We weren't quite sure how to handle
it's
that,
got,
but it is.
My agenda's got one name, but the submission's got two.
Yeah,
so,
that's right. Well, look.
Welcome. You know the process. We've got the submission.
Just go for it. All
yep.
Right. I mean, I think the first thing is basically a slight apology at the brevity of our submission. Like everyone, we have been in the middle of moving from a very damaged house to a new house in the last couple of weeks. And so I think what I want to do is, the essence of our submission is really to try and look freshly at what's happening in Christchurch. And you will hear a lot about the need to more meaningfully engage community, to bring a more authentic voice to the City Council. And at the moment, I think what people are feeling is that there's actually quite a disconnect between Wellington and Christchurch. And just to give you a bit of my own background, just to show you that I too was part of the dark side of Wellington. I was heading a government department for 8 years, and towards the end, with the first Christchurch earthquakes, I was actually in Wellington. So I saw how swift the response was. I wonder if we could fault it, really, in terms of what the government of the day tried to do. And so I'm not critical of that at all. But once I returned to Christchurch and we started getting our life back here, I was absolutely horrified with how disconnected Wellington bureaucrats were with actually what was going on the ground here in Christchurch. And people that had been previous colleagues, there was a certain kind of knownness and arrogance in terms of, what was actually going on for Joe Citizen and the council. And I think we're seeing this, I don't want to diss previous colleagues, but I actually think this is an issue that goes way beyond any political issues, because we've got to learn from Christchurch for the rest of New Zealand. And I think you've been presented with a very, very sloppy bill. It's poorly drafted. It speaks of bureaucrats in complete isolation from what I think's quite an optimistic in their issues around it in terms of the power of the minister and those things which are deeply dispiriting. But I do think that a fresh look, it looks very much, I think, like the Sarah legislation. And I think members from both sides of the House have been let down in this draft. So what are some of the solutions? How do we engage the community voice, and what does that mean? I think we should be encouraged, actually. If you look at the early days of recovery, you asked about whether there had been some real consultation. Well, I have to say the tens of thousands of people who contributed to the Share an Idea campaign quite soon after the earthquakes, the citizens of Christchurch, of Greater Christchurch, developed a vision for this city that would actually probably have cost far less to deliver than some of the bigger business solutions that for the central city. It was an idea for regeneration that focused on a much broader agenda than has been the case, on the environment, on the social issues, on the cultural issues, and there, if we let the citizens' voice rip, I think we would find something that was truly inspirational. We just cannot go on with this this disconnect from what we're presented with, and with the ministerial powers. It simply will sap any development, either economic or social. And I think I'd really urge you to look at a balance there. We should feel encouraged. Maybe the shift should be to the local government minister, away from the minister for earthquake. You know, that may address some of the balance. So the issues around local government and the issues and the broader issues. The other, we've had a look. I've had a brief look at the Tamaki Regeneration program, and while I'm not deeply knowledgeable about it, it seems that the government has looked at something that is genuinely a partnership of tangata whenua, of community, and of central government. So that may be something for you to look at a bit more deeply. As I say, I haven't. And just to give you an example, we live in Littleton, and it was where an example of where local government, the council, engaged with the people of a very, very broken part of Christchurch. We were consulted week after week, weren't we? Mm-hmm. And we've come up, together with the council, we've come up with some developments. Nook, you would know this, it's your area too, where we feel very proud of what we've achieved, and I don't believe it's cost any more. So, in summary, and Tina, I don't know whether you want to add anything.
It's the issue of scale around the visions. The visions that are put before us are at a mega big business scale, but what seems to be missing from the vision is the more personal community scale. Small to medium businesses don't seem to have a place in what the government's big picture paints.
And I think we're seeing that. I suppose I'm saying, find a solution that gets the voice of the people. We will do it for you. I mean, I'll finish with this. We do not want another headline like this, which is the Avon River is polluted, and it's absolutely disgusting. It doesn't need to be. There are visions for the Avon, the city to the sea, that where thousands of us will come and have a living corridor that the whole of New Zealand will be proud of. You know, while we're arguing about red zone things, getting a commercial gain back from land, it's ludicrous. That land should never be built on again. So the essence of our submission is address the balance, move from the powers of the minister, get a decent piece of legislation drafted, restore some of the mana and connection of the council with the people of Christchurch, and most importantly, hear our voice. So thank you.
Thank you both very much. One quick question I think we have time for.
Kia ora, Penny.
Kia ora.
And also Christina. Thank you for your submission. Again, there are some unique things in there, but it's interesting how many other submitters have brought up the Tamaki development, as an example that the government is already working with. So that's the first thing. I think the other thing which was interesting is with the Littleton Port Company and also ECAN, how they're working together on that development plan. But coming from Littleton, as you do, are they working in unison actually with the development of the community? Just one other thing though, are you aware, you're probably not, but yesterday the Christchurch City Council submitted, and what they were talking about is a sort of an addition to this, or to integrate obviously more of community collaboration within this sort of bill. So
Good.
that's what you're asking for
It
as
is,
well. That's
it
the
is.
essence, I think, of
Yeah.
what your submission is. And interesting with your whakaaro, the beginning where you said that when you were up in Wellington, how they quickly moved to address the situation, but when you got here, it's actually, and we're hearing this all the time. So, look, I mean, your submission is, I think, really, again, something that we're hearing quite a lot around collaboration. So it wasn't a question, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but it was more of a...
Yeah, and
I
I
was
think
kind of
the
picking
other,
up from you yesterday. You actually had a long letter.
yeah,
Her other point was there's too much power being kept with the minister and not devolved to the council.
that
there
is
anyone-
right. And I also think that you've got a very sloppy piece of legislation in front of you.
And also the fact that we move it from the Minister of Earthquake Recovery to Minister of Local Government.
That's right.
Yeah. Eugenie, last quick question, and time is of the essence.
Proud of what has been developed in Littleton. Is that the process with the Littleton, the local community board, or is that the Littleton Port Recovery Plan that you're talking about being proud of?
The early days with the council and the community board, yes,
Not the Port Recovery Plan.
No, that was a little more problematic, to be honest, and I think we've alluded to that.
Thank you.
Penny, Tina, thank you both very much
Thank you.
for taking time to share your
Thanks
views
very
with us.
much.
We appreciate it. Thank you.